And we are speaking to the president of the Prison Officers Association, Comrade Jared Gordon. Pleasant good evening, President.
Pleasant good evening, Mikey. Pleasant good evening.
Yes, indeed. Altercation today, early on, between prison officers and inmates at the Royal Jail on Frederick Street, Port of Spain. That was around 11 a.m. before lunch, and reports resulted in approximately 11 people having to seek medical treatment at the hospital. Please bring us up to date. What transpired and what's going on?
Well, I first let me. I know we use terms sometimes loosely, but I would not say it's an altercation. An altercation happens between two people on the roadside. But in prison, what happened today is a riotous situation being created simply because one of the inmates did not or refused to follow the instruction of an officer to return to his cell, and then he proceeded to assault the officer. So we like to stay, I would like to stay away from the term altercation. It was an assault on the officer when other officers would have attempted to intervene. Of course, the other inmates would have then rose up in support of the inmate, and then the entire situation got out of hand, and then the officers, of course, would have had to do what they needed to do to attempt to bring the situation back under control.
Now, President Gordon, now of course we're hearing, and I'm sure you've heard about it all on social media, that the lives of these officers, or many of the officers, they're saying any officer as a matter of fact, is now under threat due to what transpired today. I mean, is there something in place to make sure to safeguard the lives of these prison officers? We've been discussing this for far too long. I mean, even before you became president, in your other capacity, and the other president, and we've heard it time and time again. Is there anything in place to safeguard these hardworking men and women?
No. And I'll take it so far is that the situation has been so bad over the years that currently we have an ongoing matter in the court for safety and security. That is the issue. That matter has been going on for some time now, and we are hoping that it will come to an end soon. But we believe that the state, and they have shown us how they operate, that generally speaking, they are not concerned about the safety of officers. And why would I say that is that just look at, let's use the same Port of Spain prison as an example. You have a facility that is well over 200 years old, a lot of retrofitting and trying to make things continue to work, but the bones of that structure is extremely old. The capacity that it was built for, even with some of the retrofitting, we have surpassed the 250 that it was built for many times over. And you have officers who have to engage in this environment. You have inmates who have to live in this environment for an inordinate length of time. So it is only expected that from time to time you are going to have disagreements, you're going to have some resistance, simply because all of the people who engage in that environment are totally fed up of it. Attempts to build new facilities and whatnot are met with, we don't have any money, but we want the police to be more efficient and more effective, something that we certainly support. But we consistently ask, when the police become more effective and more efficient as the people of Trinidad and Tobago deserve, and therefore they make more arrests, where are we placing these people? Into the same overcrowded prisons that are running on a shoestring with very little support from the state, because, you know, we look at allocations and it looks pretty on paper, but in actuality, when we look at the releases, we realize that it's sorely lacking, and it continues to be abysmal for us in the Trinidad and Tobago prison service.
But President Gordon, I mean, what you described there is a very volatile situation, an environment that is not safe. I mean, it's not safe. Let's take, for example, there's a large psychological component here that is never addressed.
Never addressed.
An individual returning from court, perhaps being told that, listen, you know, this case isn't going good, you will have to be remanded, they've been there for quite some time, the wheels of justice is moving slow. He may now interact with a prison officer who is stressed out, he has domestic problems, he is in a very stressful environment. When these two worlds collide, I mean, it's not going to be happy, it's not going to be good. And how is this not addressed? How do people not understand that you have people working in an environment? I mean, basically what you said there, it's not clean, it's unhealthy, you're dealing with a psychological issue, you're dealing with the fact of stress, and yet still they want you to function as best as you can. How do you address that point?
The thing about it is that, I mean, the media, your program, the public would be our witness. As the association over decades, we have continuously been speaking about these issues. And the response from the state, in most cases, has been very lackluster. And the thing about it is that I sometimes believe that the prison officer suffers from being classed or placed, because we love to forget prisoners. And remember, when crime is committed, the victim wants justice. The public wants justice. And what we often hear people say is we need to lock them up and throw away the key, not remembering that somebody has to turn that key. And it's another citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, another man or woman of Trinidad and Tobago who is working in that environment, who has to face the fallout of trying to pretend that these people don't exist. And I often see we warehouse people in Trinidad and Tobago within the prison as if they are boxes and crates, that they have no life. And prison officers certainly over the years continue to suffer because of the lack of attention paid to what, as you rightfully describe, as a very volatile situation.
Yeah, but President, going back to the point of when it comes to dealing with the safety of officers, I can never understand why is it that officers are not called into the Ministry of National Security. You have an idea that some of them are living in hotspots, in areas that can be very harmful to them when things happen in the prison. Why aren't they given the priority to get houses from HDC in certain areas where they can build a community among their own peers and be safe? Why is that never considered?
Because in the scheme of things, I fully understand, over my 26 years working in the prison, that really and truly, it may sound but weird, but they don't care. That is a fact. I would have gone to meetings where we would submit names for a number of officers to have them move people who live in certain places, certain hotspots. And you go to the meeting and then you meet some government official who pretends that they are unaware, and they tell you, well, it's not 25, it's now we reduce that to 10 or to 15, and asking you, the representative, to cross people off the list. And I remember telling one official in particular, I said, you cross the person out. You are the one who are going to tell that person that they have to be left there to make it however best they could. I am not doing that. So the thing about it is that until we stop villainizing members of the prison service, you know, we love to talk about, well, how they get in this and how they get in that. And the question that people, the anybody, you and all Mikey, could do just make a small little search on the internet about contraband and prisons. Look at any facility around the world and you will see that this is not genus, it is not unique to Trinidad and Tobago. But I am saying to villainize an entire service just because of you have one or two individuals who should not be there, who have found employment there and should not be there, I think it's ridiculous and currently it's bordering on lunacy. And I have said it over and over again. I don't know what the government is waiting to happen, but we don't want it to happen.
Well, President, I'll be honest with you. But President, I will be honest with you, as I always have been. The fact of the matter is, especially now, in this current economic climate, the government basically is saying, listen, if we put out an ad to recruit officers, we can get them by the thousands in the morning. We're seeing them lining up alongside the highway, trying to get a job, secure one of these positions. And people like yourself and others who have the job should simply just hush, be quiet, and appreciate the fact that you're employed in the service. What do you say to that?
Yeah, that is a ridiculous. And if that is how they're thinking, then they are very foolish. The fact of the matter is that that environment has been proven to be one, firstly, that is very alien. You can't take people off the street and put them into the prison and hope that they function, hope that they have the street smart, hope that they understand man management, hope that they understand how static security deals and interferes with dynamic security. You can't do that. So seeing all of these people, what I will say is that a lot of them don't know what they are going to get themselves into. None of us did. And it continues to be one that is, I don't call it, it's not a work, this is not a job, this is a vocation, to continue to come and face what prison officers face on a daily basis. It is tantamount to abuse by the state, to know that these are the conditions and obviously refuse to want to make a change for the betterment. Not, and you know, they consider because we cast away the criminals, there is this belief that we are spending any money on them and we're not doing this on them. But not everyone who is locked up behind the walls of the prison is guilty. Not everyone who is behind locked up is there for rape or for murder. What about the guy who didn't pay the speeding ticket? What about the guy with maintenance? What about the guy who got into an altercation with somebody and they got into a fight and then he's charged with assault? What about that? We need to be very careful as a country, and I cannot stress enough that we need to mature, to become mature enough to understand that the role and function of the prisons is not only to hold but also to treat. And that treatment impacts public safety. And if we simply warehouse people and they are not provided with an opportunity for us to change their minds and how they think, then all will happen. The 90% or so of inmates who come into the prison and come back out into society, they are coming back out to society, they are coming back out angry, they are coming back out with a vengeance. And they will continue to treat us in this way, not recognizing the impact, the true impact that we could have on the lives of not only the incarcerated, but the public of Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah. President, I want to wish you all the best of luck. And again, all the safety to you and your members. I mean, it's hard-working men and women that put their lives on the line. And, you know, the fact that they're not treated with that kind of respect that is deserving to them, it really is troubling. Again, all the best. And every day that you go out there, I hope that you return home safely to your family, you and your comrades.
You too, Mikey, you too.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.